When the world undergoes significant change from one apparent era to another, the effect on existing scholarship can be profound. In some cases, books published just prior to watershed events can appear prescient if they hinted at what was coming. In other cases, books can be caught like treatises in amber with their diligent investigations of a specific moment, overtaken by new and unpredicted events. The insurgent attacks of September 9/11 and the subsequent responses by the United States and its coalition partners are widely believed to have reshaped the world's political, economic, and cultural foundations. And, given that we are now a few years into this new era of heightened conflict, a host of studies are emerging that explore the current features and possible trajectories of a post-9/11 world. Key questions in this scholarship include: how might tensions between local cultures and national governments fuel regional and even global conflict? What kinds of global political military conflicts can we expect to experience over the coming decades? And how might global capitalism intensify or ease the new threats of our times? Interestingly, precisely these kinds of questions were laid out in the pre-9/11 book The Ends of Globalization by Mohammed Bamyeh. The Ends of Globalization offers one attempt to define the major trajectories of change that were underway as a new century began. And, though Bamyeh's analysis has been at least partially covered in amber by post-9/11 events, his book does have the virtue of raising crucial questions that remain relevant today. Bamyeh's central objective is to map out transformations in the cultural, political, and economic features of a world that was just absorbing the impact of the collapse of the Soviet Union and its socialist allies in Eastern Europe. It was, as Bamyeh points out, a time of unbridled optimism in the United States. Treatises proclaiming the triumph of capitalism and representative democracy abounded, but, as Bamyeh correctly demonstrates, there were problems on the horizon. Drawing in particular on cases from the Middle East, Bamyeh explores the tensions that were building within many post-colonial states as populations found their aspirations for a better future thwarted by unbridled capitalism and often rapacious, authoritarian nation-states. The Ends of Globalization by Mohammed Bamyeh stands out for its insightful exploration of the social and cultural tensions emerging within nations of the Global South. These tensions arise as post-colonial aspirations collide with the harsh realities of an increasingly polarized and unforgiving capitalist world economy. Bamyeh's nuanced analysis of the cultural paradoxes entrenched within many nation-states sheds light on the emergence of new forms of totalitarianisms in the developing world. He astutely highlights that the United States, during this period, was engaged in identifying new adversaries no longer defined as communists, but rather as rogue nations, terrorists, and extremists. In a perceptive observation, Bamyeh characterizes these new American foes as possessing an enigmatic propensity to strike unpredictably and at random, anywhere. Less than a year following the publication of The Ends of Globalization, the unprecedented attacks on the World Trade Center and Pentagon by terrorists linked to Al-Qaeda confirmed the unpredictability and danger of this adversary. These subsequent strikes in various countries further demonstrated the network's capacity to support or inspire insurgent activities across diverse contexts. It became evident that this adversary was even more mysterious, unpredictable, and perilous than previously realized prior to September 11, 2001. While Bamyeh's analysis of cultural contradictions is robust, his examination of geopolitical dynamics is somewhat less convincing. He proposes the emergence of a new imperialism, that is less tied to economic or material interests than traditional imperialist theory had assumed. He suggests that powerful states would behave less predictably, engaging in political military campaigns driven more by symbolic reasons than rational material considerations. However, absent from this analysis is any exploration of the possibility that competition for vital resources like oil, gas, or water could escalate geopolitical tensions. This interpretation of imperialism, though imaginative, fails to account for recent events, such as the U.S. intervention in Iraq and the anticipated geopolitical conflicts likely to arise in the 21st century due to intensifying resource-related tensions. Bamyeh's discussion of the probable trajectory of global capitalism in its economic dimension also presents certain challenges. He contends that a fundamental feature of globalization is capital's regained autonomy from politically driven regulation that had been lost decades earlier. Prior to September 11, 2001, this argument about the increasing power of global corporations had been endorsed by numerous analysts. However, the post-attack landscape revealed that corporations remained heavily reliant on political military protection from nation-states. Despite ongoing free market and deregulation debates at the national level, the interdependent relationship between leading states and corporations on the global stage was reaffirmed. Bamyeh's analysis thus reflects a temporary reality that was overturned by subsequent events. The Ends of Globalization concludes with a compelling analysis of potential strategies for reforming the global system. Bamyeh dismisses the idea of constructing a world state as part of reform efforts, anticipating that such an entity might evolve into the most totalitarian institution that humanity has ever known. Instead, he advocates for a global solidarity movement that unites diverse groups spiritually based, class-based, and identity-based into a campaign aimed at enriching the possibilities of freedom in the world. Bamyeh's foresight becomes apparent as a multifaceted anti-globalization and anti-war movement emerged soon after the book's writing, challenging elite-driven forms of globalization and militarism. Bamyeh's analysis displays strengths and weaknesses. His discussions on geopolitical and economic dynamics have been partially overshadowed by subsequent events as a new era of political and military conflict unfolded, rendering his analysis, along with that of others, somewhat outdated. However, his examination of the cultural contradictions within the global capitalist system offers valuable insights into the roots of contemporary fundamentalism. Readers interested in this facet of our era will undoubtedly benefit from engaging with the Ends of Globalization.